The desert stretched endlessly before Marcus Chen, a vast ocean of sand painted gold by the dying sun. He'd been walking for 3 days since his research vehicle broke down, surviving on rationed water and the desperate hope that someone would find his distress beacon. The archaeological expedition that had brought him to the Sahara's heart now seemed like a distant dream, replaced by the brutal reality of survival. His boots sank into the sand with each exhausting step. The wind carried no relief, only more heat and the promise of another freezing night ahead. Marcus adjusted the scarf around his face and squinted at the horizon, searching for any sign of shelter, water, or salvation. That's when he saw her. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, a mirage born from dehydration and desperation. But as he stumbled closer, the impossible image remained solid and real. A woman, easily 20 feet tall, was half buried in the sand. Only her upper body was visible, broad shoulders clad in strange metallic armor, powerful arms ending in 4-fingered hands, and a face unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her skin was blue. Not painted blue, not tattooed blue, but naturally blue as a summer sky. Intricate patterns of darker blue traced across her features like tribal markings. Her eyes, when they snapped open, glowed with an amber fire that made Marcus stumble backward. "Don't come closer," she hissed, her voice deep and resonant, speaking English with an accent he couldn't place. "Your scent means death." Marcus froze, his heart hammering against his ribs. He was hallucinating. He had to be. Giants didn't exist. Blue-skinned giants definitely didn't exist. And yet, she moved, her chest rising and falling with breath, chains visible around her torso, binding her arms to her sides. "I'm not going to hurt you," Marcus said, his voice cracking from thirst. Are you real?" The giantess's eyes narrowed, studying him with an intensity that made him feel like an insect under a microscope. "Real enough to save your pathetic life or end it. Stay where you are, human. The scent that clings to you, it marks you as one of them." "Them? Who?" Marcus looked down at himself, confused. He wore standard expedition gear, khaki pants, a long-sleeve shirt, boots. Nothing unusual. "I'm just an archaeologist. I'm lost. My vehicle broke down 3 days ago." "Archaeologist," she repeated, testing the word. Her amber eyes flickered to his backpack, then to his face. "You dig in the earth. You disturb the sleeping." "Sometimes," Marcus admitted, "we try to understand the past, to learn about ancient civilizations." He took a small step closer, drawn by curiosity despite her warning. "How are you buried here? How long have you been trapped?" The giantess's expression darkened, a growl rumbling in her chest. "I told you not to approach. The chemicals stink on you. It's the same substance they used to bind me. If you come closer, if even a drop of your sweat touches these chains, they will tighten. They will crush me." Marcus looked down at his hands, then back at her. "What substance?"
"I don't understand."
"The gel you spread on your skin. For protection from the sun. Sunscreen." She was talking about his sunscreen. Marcus's mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible situation. "You're trapped by sunscreen? By the polymers in it." "My people," she paused, pain flickering across her face, "we are sensitive to certain synthetic compounds. The ones who buried me knew this. They coated the chains with it. Even the vapor from that substance on your skin could seal my fate if you approach." Marcus dropped his backpack and began searching through it frantically. "I have water. Lots of it. I can wash it off." "No." The giantess's shout echoed across the dunes. "You waste precious water for a stranger? You who can barely stand. Human foolishness." "What's your name?" Marcus asked, unscrewing his water bottle. She stared at him for a long moment.
Zethara.
I was a guardian of the deep desert. Before your kind multiplied. Before the world changed. I'm Marcus. He poured water over his hands, scrubbing them clean, then splashed more on his face and arms. How long have you been buried here, Zethara? By your reckoning? Perhaps 300 years. Perhaps more. Time moves differently when you're buried alive, watching the stars while overhead, waiting for either death or rescue. Her voice carried centuries of exhaustion. Marcus removed his shirt entirely, using half his remaining water to wash away any trace of sunscreen from his upper body. The desert air was immediately cold against his wet skin despite the lingering heat of the day. Who did this to you? Raiders. Humans who learned our weaknesses. They wanted our knowledge, our technology. When I refused to share the location of my people's last sanctuary, they bound me here as an example. Zethara's chains rattled as she tested them. They said I would watch the desert consume everything I loved. And did it? Marcus asked softly, approaching slowly now, his skin clean and wet. Yes. The single word carried the weight of empires. Marcus knelt beside her, examining the chains. They were made of a metal he didn't recognize, wound tight around her torso and arms. Dark residue coated every link, dried, concentrated sunscreen mixed with something else, something that shimmered with an oily iridescence. If I can dig you out, can you break these yourself? If I could reach my full strength, perhaps. But I am weak.
So weak.
Zethara closed her eyes. Why do you help me, Marcus the archaeologist? I am not human. I am the monster from your stories. You're not a monster, Marcus said, beginning to dig with his hands. You're someone who needs help. That's enough. He dug for hours as the sun set and the stars emerged. His hands blistered and bled. His muscles screamed. Dehydration made his head pound. But he kept digging, and Zethara watched him with those burning amber eyes, saying nothing. Finally, as the moon rose high, enough sand had been cleared. Zethara could move her legs. With a roar that shook the dunes, she pushed upward, her massive body rising from its grave. The chains groaned and protested, but she twisted and pulled, and one by one, the link shattered. Free at last, Zethara stood at her full height, towering against the star-filled sky. She looked down at Marcus, who had collapsed in the sand, spent and trembling. You are dying, she observed. Probably, Marcus whispered. Zethara knelt, and despite her size, her movements were gentle. She lifted him in one massive hand as easily as he might lift a kitten. Then we save each other, Marcus the archaeologist. My people's sanctuary has water.
Food.
Medicine. I will take you there. Why? Marcus asked, his vision blurring. I'm just a human. One of the ones who trapped you. No, Zethara said, beginning to walk across the desert with massive strides that covered distance in seconds. You are the one who freed me. There is a difference. Perhaps, after 300 years, the world has room for such differences. As consciousness faded, Marcus heard her humming, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to harmonize with the desert wind itself. He'd come to the Sahara searching for ancient mysteries. He'd found something far more impossible, proof that legends could be real, that monsters could be noble, and that sometimes the greatest discoveries were the connections forged between completely different worlds. The desert kept their secret, and in the hidden sanctuary of the last giants, a new story began.